The Tragedy of Cinema podcast is intended as a family-friendly program that by extension strives to be inclusive to all people regardless of their ethnicity, gender, creed, or any other identifying factors in this incredibly diverse world of ours. With that said, some of the films we discuss may contain serious subject matters or have content considered morally objectionable by today's standards. We do not intend to condone or dismiss these aspects of these films, but our primary focus will be on what we believe the film succeeds at, some fun facts, and our personal enjoyment factors of each film. With that said, we hope you enjoy the show.
Blow up the neon light, Jimbo and Bond take flight. 80s dreams are its delight. In the realm of black and white, movies and TV flow through the stories we all know. Silver screen tales unfold in the magic they bestow. The tragedy of cinema, when the memories shimmer. Join us as we toast to the tales we love the most.
John Rambo, a drifter, just passing through their town.
Morning! Headed north or south?
North.
Now jump in. I'll make sure you're heading the right direction, huh?
You got someplace I can eat around here?
There's a diner about 30 miles up the highway.
Is there any law against me getting something here?
Yeah, me. I want you to book this gentleman for vagrancy, resisting arrest, carrying a concealed weapon.
They knew he was innocent.
Starting to dislike you a lot.
And they didn't give a damn.
That's okay, Warren. Don't worry about the soap. He's tough. Just shave him. Dry.
Don't move. I don't want you to cut your own throat.
John Rambo, one man who's been pushed too far.
You're finished! You've gone as far as you're gonna go!
Heading straight for the top. Right on top of him. There's no way out of here except through us.
He was hunted, trapped,
There he is! On the cliff!
and forced to fight back.
Don't push it. I'll give you a war you won't believe.
Teasel, you and all your men couldn't handle him before. Now, what makes you think you can handle him now?
Because God knows what damage he's prepared to do.
You don't seem to want to accept the fact that you're dealing with an expert in guerrilla warfare.
Are you telling me that 200 men against your boy is a no-win situation for us?
You send that many, don't forget one thing. A good supply of body bags.
Sylvester Stallone. This time he's fighting for his life. First blood.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast. I'm your host, Jimbo, and today I'm joined once again by my co-host.
Hey, this is Bond.
So, Bond, tonight we are covering probably a movie that we should have covered by now in the almost 7 years of existence of this podcast. We're doing Rambo First Blood.
Yeah, this is First Blood, man. First Blood, 1982.
It has been at least 10 years since I watched this movie, maybe even longer. But it was a movie that I saw when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, especially the second one too, and Rambo in my mind was an action hero. He was somebody that went after the bad guys and took care of business, right? I even had the combat survival knife that you see in this movie and in the sequel. As a kid, had that thing, strapped to my leg. I was out in the woods, had the compass on it, had the fishing line inside, had the hook, had some dry matches, had the sharpening stone and everything that you could get. Wow. And it had the official Rambo. And going back and watching Rambo now, man, did I miss a lot of stuff as a kid. I missed the entire plot line. It wasn't just about explosions and killing the bad guys. There is a very sentimental story here that I think needs to be discussed as we go along in this movie.
I totally agree, man. When I was a kid, I wouldn't say I acted out as if I was Rambo.
Oh, I did.
But
tied the bandana around my head and everything.
I remember it being just full of explosions and blood. And it was just this like jungle hunting thing where it's like, it was man against man hunting themselves, each other in the jungle. That's what I remember. Watching it as an adult, wow, there's like PTSD. There's all this Vietnam, era stuff coming in. It's a totally different movie as an adult than it was as a kid. I can see why it was such a big hit, because it appealed to men and boys from age, 8 to 80?
Probably.
Everybody loved this movie when it came out.
So
we were talking about First Blood, man, 1982. It's an American war action film. And here's some details, man. It was directed by Ted Kotcheff. And Ted Kotcheff was the director of the movie Weekend at Bernie's, which I thought was pretty funny because it's like you couldn't get any more opposite when it comes to directing movies.
Can you imagine if Sylvester Stallone would have played Bernie?
Yeah,
they would have had to find him. They would have had to find him with his shirt off, though, right?
Oh yeah, they saved a lot of money on the wardrobe in this movie, man. Screenplay by Michael Kozel, William Schackheim, and Sylvester Stallone. It's actually based on a book called First Blood by David Morrell. So I think the book came out in like 1975, 72, maybe, is when the novel came out. And then I guess they bought the rights to it, and they were able to use the rights to the book to make this movie. Let's see. This movie was 93 minutes long, I believe. Yeah, 93 minutes long. It cost $15 million to make in 1982, which translates to about $50 million today. Which, if you think about the explosions and the stars and everything in it, that's not bad. $50 million is not too bad. I mean, even today's money. To say this movie was a success, understatement. Remember, it cost $15 million to make. It did $125 million in 1982. That translates to about $419 million today. So make it for 50 and it makes 419. Huge profits. This was also the first big budget movie to be released in China. So think about those ticket sales. It actually held the record for like most tickets sold for 40 years. Because it was that first movie released in China. So big American blockbuster, all the Chinese people are going to go try to see that big Sylvester Stallone movie. The cast, you're looking at, of course, John Rambo, played by Sylvester Stallone. What's your favorite, or what movie sticks out for you when you think of Sylvester Stallone?
I think a movie that is often overlooked by Sylvester Stallone, and it's one of my favorites that he's done, is called Assassins. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he's an assassin in this movie, and there's another assassin that's trying to kill him, which is played by Antonio Banderas. Very good movie. We need to put it on the list because I remember watching that movie and I was like, man, I am impressed with that. So definitely Assassins, I would say. You?
Cool. I was going to say Rhinestone. No, I'm just kidding. I was going to say Throw Mama from the Train. No, I'm just kidding. I was going to say Rocky, man.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Yeah, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. No, I'm talking Demolition Man.
That's a good one too.
And I'm a big fan of Tulsa King. I've talked about Tulsa King with you a couple times. It's a big show. I love him on Tulsa King. Of course, he's in the Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, and all the other Rockies that come out. Big hit, big action star. When you think 80s action stars, you think Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, right?
And Chuck Norris.
And Chuck Norris, right? There's a couple other ones.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Those are like the big, I was thinking Van Damme was like number 3. This movie has also Colonel Samuel R. Sam Troutman, played by Richard Crenna. And he looks familiar in this movie, but I think it's because of this movie. Because as I was looking and doing research, I was like, he's been in more stuff than just Rambo, in the Rambo sequels. The only thing I could really find him in was the movie Summer Rental. Summer Rental with John Candy.
John Candy, right?
And, yeah, that's a great one. And then The Flamingo Kid, which is a pretty great comedy. You know that he was actually the replacement actor in this movie? Yeah, because Kirk Douglas was hired in this role, and he was there for one day, and then he quit.
I wonder why.
I don't know. He was there for one day. He replaced Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas originally got the role of Troutman, and he only lasted a day. You'll also recognize Brian Dennehy as Sheriff Will Teasel. Man, I love Brian Dennehy.
I do too. I think he played a fantastic cop in this movie.
Yeah, he was amazing. I really realized that I like everything he's in. He's in Tommy Boy. He's in that movie Silverado, which is a great Western. He's in the movie FX. He's in 10, Foul Play, Presumed Innocent, Cocoon. Just, movie after movie. He's got so many movies under his belt. He's a great actor, Brian Dennehy. This movie has Captain Dave Kern, played by Bill McKinney. He was in 7 Clint Eastwood movies. He was in Back to the Future Part 3, Green Mile. But I'll tell you right here now, Jimbo, you know what he's famous for?
Tell me, Bond.
He is the actor who rapes Ned Beatty
in Deliverance.
Yep.
Squeal like a pig, Bond.
Yep. Squeal. He squeals like a pig in Deliverance. He makes Ned Beatty.
We got to cover that movie too.
That's a good one too. But that's him. That's Bill McKinney. He's awesome. Now, the next actor, Jack Sterrett, is Deputy Sergeant Arthur Galt. He was in Blazing Saddles. But what's really cool about Jack is he actually grew up and was born about 30 minutes away from where I live. He was born in Refugio, Texas, which is about 30 minutes away from my southern town of Corpus. And so when I saw that, I was like, hey, he's like a local boy. There's a lot of deputies in this one. Michael Talbot plays Deputy Balford. He was in Miami Vice, the movie Any Which Way You Can. And get this, Michael Talbot was in the movie National Lampoon's Vacation, but his role ended up on the cutting room floor. He was a cowboy. And so there's no cowboy in the movie, but he played like this cowboy figure. He's not in the movie at all. But if you look at the very end of the movie where they're running all of these, I guess they're postcards from their vacation, their fake vacation. If you notice on the postcards, he's in one of the postcards. So they edited him out of the movie, but they didn't edit him out of the credits. So Michael Talbot's still in there, deep in there somewhere. We have Chris Mulkey as Deputy Ward. He was in the movie Captain Phillips, Cloverfield, and The Purge. John McLiam plays Orville Kellerman. He was in My Fair Lady and Cool Hand Luke. One of the ones that I know you recognized when you watched it was the actor David Caruso. David Caruso, redhead, right? He was played Deputy Mitch Rogers. And of course, he's famous for CSI Miami and NYPD Blue. And so he was the one, he looked really young in this movie, I thought. And then finally, to wrap it up, we have David Crowley as Deputy Shingleton. And he was in the movie Cocktail. And he was also in the Beverly Hillbillies movie, which is pretty cool. Okay, so here's something I want you to notice. There are no women in this movie. None.
There's not even one like in the when they say, attention, if you are a citizen of this city, please seek cover.
There might be.
But you don't see them, is that what you're saying?
You don't see them. There might be a woman.
Yes, there is. There's the one at the very beginning. No, at the very beginning when Stallone walks up, he says, hey, I'm looking for my buddy I served in the army with. And she's like, he's not here no more. And
Delmar's wife.
Yeah, and she tells her sister, or I guess it's his daughter, one of the two, hey, go inside, right? So there's some right there.
So if you were getting popcorn, you missed the only woman in the movie.
Pretty much, yeah.
Delmar's wife comes out in the first 3 minutes. And I think there's a waitress when he goes to eat. I think there's a waitress, right?
Yeah.
But as I was watching this movie, it didn't click until about 80% into the movie. And I was like, wait a minute. There's no women in this movie at all. Like, none at all. There's no way you'd have a movie with no women in it. It's crazy.
It's a movie for a guy that likes movies, right?
Exactly. I was like, this is not a good date movie. Right. Anyway, that's the cast. That's the budget, that kind of stuff. Box office.
Bond, give me an overall synopsis of this movie, if you will, of what's going on in this movie. What can people expect? It's not just about blowing stuff up and killing people, because technically Rambo doesn't kill anybody in this movie, I don't think.
No. I think everyone who dies on accident.
Right. Maybe one, but it's not the one you're thinking. I think it's when they send the dogs after him, right? And he's got that scarecrow of him wearing his tarp or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the one guy starts shooting, and I think he shoots back and he hits the one guy in the leg, but I don't know if he dies, right?
Yeah, in fact, all the traps he sets are set to wound. They're not set to kill.
Well, he even tells the sheriff, he said, look, he said, I could have killed every single one of you, all of your men. He said, and I didn't.
Yeah.
He said, leave me alone, basically, or you will regret it. Right?
Yeah. So John Rambo is a Vietnam vet, and he's going to visit his last friend, Delmar.
Is he the last one alive?
He is the last one alive, because it was just him and Delmar. So he goes to visit his last Vietnam buddy, who's in the same little platoon as him, and come to find out that when he gets there, Delmar has died of, I guess,
cancer.
Cancer due to Agent Orange, right?
Mm-hmm. She said, well, you know, what killed him is what he brought back with him when he came back from Vietnam, basically.
Yeah, so he came back with cancer. He was infected by Agent Orange. This is very depressing for John, and he's kind of aimless. He's got nowhere to go. He's got no friends left. He's got no family.
He can't hold a job.
And so he's walking through town, and the sheriff comes to pick him up. The sheriff just assumes he's a drifter, a troublemaker. He even makes a comment about wearing the American flag on his vest.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing like this jacket, this vest, and he's got the American flag on. He goes, you better watch out wearing that symbol or wearing that flag on your chest, which I thought was kind of weird. It was like, it's the American flag, you know? It doesn't have like a line through it or anything. So the sheriff escorts him out of town.
Well, he asked Rambo, he says, hey, which way you headed? He's like, north. He's like, well, hop in. I'll give you a ride. And so he takes him to that bridge, right? And drops off. He's like, well, you go up this road right here, you know, happy hunting or wherever you're going. Good luck. And what's Rambo do? Rambo gets out, just looks. The sheriff turns around and starts driving away on the back across the bridge. He looks in the rearview mirror, and Rambo just turns around and starts walking back to town. I love it so much.
I love that part. I thought that was great, man.
He's like,
yeah, Rambo's like, hey, you good? You think to eat around here?
Yeah, because all he wants is a meal, right? And the sheriff's like, he's like,
the sheriff's like, yeah, there's a place 30 miles up the road.
Yeah. He's like, well, is there any laws that says I can't get something to eat here? He said, yeah, me or whatever. I was like,
exactly.
Oh, I hate this guy already.
Exactly. So the sheriff drops him off on the edge of town. And I love the fact that Rambo, dropped off at the edge of town, just turns around.
He pulls up his collar. Remember, he pulls up his collar and he's like, all right. So he starts walking back.
Yeah. And at this point, Sylvester Stallone, the movie, in the first 30, 45 minutes of this movie, Sylvester Stallone has like 4 lines.
Yep.
He's a very quiet man. He gets arrested. And I love the fact that Brian Dennehy, the sheriff, is like struggling to arrest him. And you could tell that Rambo could fight him off.
Oh, Rambo could have snapped his neck at any moment.
He could have snapped his neck and just kept walking. But he does it. And you could see the resistance. He's like trying to resist himself, you know, from doing anything to the sheriff. He's brought into the sheriff's office and just abused.
Oh, man. And I think it's, you know, they take everything away from him and they're like, well, get him cleaned up too, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the hardest scenes of this movie, I think, is when they pull the fire hose out on him. And those things come out with such pressure, and just to see the way he struggled. I mean, this is a Vietnam War vet, and the way they
not
are.
Only that, but
well, I mean,
I was going to say not only that, but when he takes off his shirt, he's got
all the scars
across his back. He's got scars across his chest from where he was beaten as a POW.
And man, you know, I don't care what kind of law enforcement you're in. If you see somebody like that, he's wearing the American flag. He's wearing kind of like army clothes, right? Like I wouldn't say fatigues, but he's wearing army issue clothing. And when they bring him in there and they see all that, and then he proceeds to, you know, beat him with that nightstick in the back, right? Mm-hmm. And then to see where they go, and all the time he's there, he's having flashbacks to Vietnam and what was happening to him. I guess he was a prisoner of war, and the stuff that they see, like they're going to shave him, right? And they're like, oh no, he doesn't, this tough guy doesn't need no soap, just shave him dry or whatever. And you know, the one guy's doing the razor blade, and that has a flashback of when he was getting cut across the chest with a knife. They try to fingerprint him, you know, just roll it. And
that was actually kind of funny.
I know. Stallone's just standing there like, he can't even do it with one hand, right? Stallone's just like, nah.
The sheriff comes and goes like, what's the trouble here? He goes, he won't let me fingerprint him. And his fingers are all black.
And I like how Rambo just starts wiping off the ink, right? He just
he just starts wiping off the ink, dude. It's funny. Doesn't say a word like the whole time. It's like, you know, the guy's like trying to go through processing, and he's like, name. He just stands there.
And then they rip his dog tags off, right? And he's like, Rambo, John J. Did we ever find out what his middle name was?
No, every time I see it, it's just John J.
So when they go to get him with the razor to give him a shave, and they come in close to his eye, man, that's just when he snaps. And
well, he sees the bars on the windows at the jail too, and it reminds him of the bamboo bars.
Yeah.
So POW.
He is having a mental breakdown right now. And I think physically he thinks he's back in Vietnam at this point, and it was a fight to survive. So he drop kicks one guy, busts the other guy, you know, against the wall, kicks one guy in the nuts. And that whole scene right there where they're fighting, I'm like, this dude is a bad Jose, right?
Not only that, but it's so controlled because he doesn't kill anybody. He doesn't snap any necks. He like takes out a knee. He stabs another dude in the arm, you know what I'm saying, or in the leg. So everything he does, he's taking these guys out. I love the fact there's like one guy, he turns the corner in the hallway, and John Rambo like dives and like just takes him out
sliding sweep kick. Yeah. Well, he's running up the stairs too, right? The guy opens the door right when he opens the door, right? It's awesome. And what does he grab? I think he grabs his knife, right? Because you get his knife. He grabs
this big old Rambo buck knife.
Yeah. And, you know, you give him that knife, that guy is pretty much unstoppable. So I like the scene. He busts out of the sheriff's office. He puts his knife in, right? And he's looking, he starts running. And he basically just clotheslines a guy off of a mountain bike or motorcycle, you know, an off-road bike motorcycle.
Yeah, he's got like an off-road motorcycle. Yeah. He's just like, he's driving on the road, and Rambo kind of positions himself like, now, and he takes him down.
Yeah, and then Rambo takes off on that thing.
But the problem is that he's only wearing like a T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
He's only wearing like, you know, one of those muscle shirts or something, like a tank top. And it's cold. They're in like Oregon, aren't they? Like in Oregon or Washington State.
He's got to be up there in Washington State because he's trying to get to Portland. Well, he might be in Oregon. Yeah. Or Seattle, one of the two.
Yeah, he's in the Northwest, and all he's got in the winter and all he's got on is like this tank top shirt.
Is Rambo a Christmas movie, First Blood? Because there was a Christmas tree in the police station, is all I'm saying.
In the police station? I don't know. They don't mention Christmas enough. If they would have mentioned Christmas 3 times, I would have said yes.
So I think it's pretty cool that he takes off on this motorbike, and he is just, and, you know, he's just going through. And of course, the one guy tries to shoot him, right? And he's like, "What are you doing? There's civilians there." The sheriff hits his hand, it goes off in the air. So starts chasing him with the police car, and Rambo's just, I mean, he's just outmaneuvering this guy. Mm-hmm. And Rambo decides to go into the woods. Well,
yeah, it's thick forest out there.
Yeah. And so you put a Vietnam War vet out there in the woods, the odds are not in your favor, no matter how many men you bring to the party, right?
Yeah, the sheriff's office does pretty well because they like grab the K9 unit.
3 dogs.
Start hitting the woods. Yeah. They start hitting the woods with a bunch of dogs. Dogs are barking like crazy. They're on his tail. They're right behind him.
And so he basically tries to go up this cliff with a motorbike. It flips over or whatever, right? So he just takes off running. And I think one of the quintessential scenes that you will see in this movie, one that stuck out with me since I was a kid, is Rambo's being chased down by these dogs and everything. And he sets up this little fake ploy. And I mean, you hear the one guy's like, cause he steals one of the guy's guns, right? Mm-hmm. But I think before that, he's hanging off the side of a cliff, right? He's trying to scale down the side of a cliff.
Yeah, the dogs have him cornered.
Yeah, and they have called in a helicopter. Well, they're like, well, the helicopter people don't want to come because there's supposed to be some bad storms. He's like, I don't care. You get them out here now. It's a matter of, security. So the one sheriff that was in there that was really mean to him in the department, they said, do not kill him. Do not shoot him. We want him alive. Well, he's hanging out the side of the helicopter and he's aiming at Rambo, taking shots. And the sheriff's like, what are you doing? I want him alive. And so, but they're not answering the radio, right? So Rambo, I mean, the guy's getting pretty close shooting, but he can't get a good shot because of the turbulence of the helicopter and everything. So that scene where Rambo just dives off the side of the cliff onto like a pine tree. And I guess it kind of stabs him, right?
He's from like, limb to limb.
Oh, and then he hits the ground and he still gets up, but he's cornered because the helicopters come down close enough that the guy's getting shots. He's hiding behind a tree. And what's Rambo do, man? He takes a rock.
And he just turns around and like between the shots, he takes that rock and he just chunks it as hard as he can. And it smacks into the windshield of the helicopter, cracks the windshield of the helicopter. And it's just enough to jerk the helicopter back. The helicopter pilot jerks his arm.
And what happens?
Sheriff Galt loses his grip.
And he falls. How far do you think he fell? 50 feet?
50 feet, yeah. 50
and
feet
lands
right
on the rocks.
Jagged rocks.
Oh, on the rocks below. And Rambo goes over there. He takes his jacket or something, right? And he takes
his jacket because
takes his gun.
T-shirt.
And up at the top, you see Galt and all of them up there. And he's like, Rambo comes out and he's like, look, it wasn't my fault. I want no trouble. I didn't do this.
It was an accident. Your man fell.
Just leave me alone. And they start shooting at him, right? He takes off running once again. And it's pretty cool because he comes across like this. I think that happened earlier when he's coming across like all this salvage stuff and he finds a tarp and he cuts like a stationary, cuts a tarp
like
and makes like a poncho, right? Yeah. And ties around with just a cord. So, I mean, he's got a little something. And just the whole chasing of Rambo through the whole woods. And then he gets the idea that guess they don't want to give up. I'm going to take matters into my own hand. Right. Mm-hmm. And he starts setting some traps. The one where he kills the dog. And he's like, hey, I don't even think Rambo shot the dogs. I think the own people shot their dogs, to be honest, when I was watching it. But then the third dog goes after him. He jumps over the log, right? And they say, oh, he's out of bullets. And he's like, how do you know? He said, because that was no gun that killed that dog. I think he stabbed him to death, right?
You hear the last dog go.
Yeah. And so, Rambo's like hiding in top of trees, dropping down. He's got one guy that's like got barbed wire wrapped around his neck or some sort of wire around his neck, twisted behind a tree. Again, he hasn't killed anybody. I think he stabbed somebody in the knee.
He sharpens like these little spikes and he attaches them to some sort of spring-loaded
like a tripwire or something.
A tripwire that when the guy walks by, the tripwire sets off this log that just shoots as fast as it can right into this guy's thighs.
Yeah.
And you see like the spikes sticking out.
Oh, yeah. So he hasn't killed anybody. So he ends up, I guess, in like an old mine shaft, like a cave. And
they're still chasing them.
Oh yeah,
and he does get war. I mean, he does, like you were saying before, he gets the Sheriff Teasel cornered, and he puts that big Rambo knife up to his neck, and he says, "I could have killed your men. I could have killed you." Right, which is pretty much just leave me alone.
Just stop.
Yeah, I'm not killing anybody.
Would you have stopped by now, Bond? Would you have stopped?
I know in my heart of hearts I would have wanted to, but I also know I'm the sheriff and this guy's out
making
here
me look
hurting
stupid.
and killing my men.
He's not killing them.
No, but just because somebody hurts an officer doesn't mean you let him go. Going, oh well, let him go.
At this point, they still think that he killed the other guy, the other deputy or whatever, because the helicopter said he ain't coming back. Right? Remember, he's like, I'm not coming back. So somewhere along the lines, they end up. He ends up going into this tunnel, right? Or this cave.
It's like an old mine shaft. I would say coal mine, silver mine, probably back there.
And they take a bazooka, fire it into the front, and it gives a cave in, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Rambo has taken a radio from one of the deputies or one of the police officers. And at this point, they think Rambo's dead. And at some point, I believe it's here, his former, what would you say, boss? I don't want to say boss. What was his?
He was like his commander. Right?
Yeah, his commander. And what is it, like Lone Wolf?
Before that, though, how cool was it when he was crawling through the mine shaft and he's got like that makeshift torch and you see all the rats in there?
But I think
there's rats everywhere.
I think that's after the radio call, because he makes first contact with.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you
Corporal.
He's talking to Troutman.
Yeah. Because remember, he's like, Lone Wolf, this is gold leaders, come back, or I forget the call signs, right?
Right.
And he's like, it wasn't my fault. He said, I just wanted something to eat. Right? That's what he's saying. He's like, well, Rambo, you're surrounded, you need to come on in. He's like, I can't do that, sir. So, man.
Well, at first they're trying to like get radio contact with Rambo, but he's not responding. He's just listening to them talk on the radio. It's not until his former commanding officer shows up on the scene and they're like, well, maybe he'll listen to you. Maybe he'll talk to you. And sure enough, it works. I mean, I really liked the commanding officer guy. I thought he was so cool.
Right. So Rambo decides, well, I can't do that. Pretty much. I'm not going to do that. They started it. He's like, I didn't start this war, but I'll finish it. Basically is what he's telling them.
This is where the title of the movie comes in.
Yep.
Because Rambo says they drew first blood.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, so that's where the title comes from.
So Rambo, this is where he gets the torch and he's crawling under throughout this cave shaft after it's been collapsed, and all the rats on him, and
the rats on his back.
Some really cool shots too, cinematography wise, because the camera's going across and there's just rats all in front of the camera as he's crawling through that water.
Yeah, because his mine shaft is like 50% flooded.
Very well done.
It's up to his waist at least as he's trying to get through this watery mine shaft, and you see the rats are all drowned out and on the side. They're on his back, and they're just trying to get away. Yeah, it was a really cool scene.
And he comes across like an old ladder down there that he's like an escape hatch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now here we go. Now here's some army men just happen to be driving through the mountains wherever they're at, right? And Rambo basically knocks the driver or the passenger out, and he says, "Hey, what you got in the back?" And he's like, to the driver, he's like, "Oh, M16." He's like, "Okay, thank you." And he's like, "You can get out now," basically. And he's like, "What?"
Just kicks him out.
And he just throws him out, and the guy tumbles down, right? So Rambo is now in control of this army. It's like one of those army van type things with like the old covered wagon back, the tarp or whatever, right?
Yeah,
and
it's like a big Jeep.
An M16 in the back, a big old gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty funny because the one guy takes off running, right? And the sheriff's going the other way, right? He's like basically telling me, "Hey, look, so now you got a cop following Rambo." And it's a pretty cool scene because they're trying to run Rambo off the road. They're shooting into the Jeep or the truck, and Rambo's blowing them back and forth. And then he sees a broken down car on the side of the road up ahead. And what's he do? He veers off into him to make sure just enough time for them to hit that and blow the other car up, right? Another explosion.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And you see Rambo, it's getting dark now, and you see them set up a roadblock at the bridge that he crossed to leave town, right? When they dropped him off, and they see him, and he just pedal to the metal, man. And he just blows right through that whole thing. The music hits.
I love the way that the truck almost jumps over.
Oh yeah, it's like a Dukes of Hazzard almost.
Yeah, it jumps over it and just smashes on the other side of it.
Oh
and keeps going.
Man. And then you see him coming into town, right? And he runs over the gas pumps, right? He kind of skids out and stops the truck, goes to the back, pulls out this M16 with a bunch of bullets wrapped around his neck, right? Dumps some gas or whatever.
Straps it around his arm like a huge bullet bracelet.
Ah, dude, he looks like a man's man, right? This dude's getting ready to tear some stuff up. And what's he do? He throws a match down or something, and he lights the entire gas thing on fire, blows the gas tank building to pieces, blows the truck up. And now it's when the other deputies start coming to check out the fire, it's going down this used car lot, blowing up all these cars as it's going down.
That was such a man scene right there, man. It just explodes.
Oh yeah. Well, then he goes into the armory or whatever, the town gun store, I guess, and he just starts loading up, dude.
It's like a gun store. Yeah.
He dumps them all down, right? And he basically catches that on fire. All the guns are going up, the bullets are exploding, and man, it's just so tough. And he's just goes into he just open fires on everything, just shattering windows, catching stuff on fire. Just he's teaching them a lesson.
He even shoots the pole, the power pole.
The power pole. It takes all the lights out of the entire place.
He blackouts the town, or at least that side of town.
Mm-hmm.
So he's taking out the electricity. He's cracked.
So the sheriff is like, oh no, basically because Troutman warned him. He said, you can have 200 men. He's like, but you better bring enough body bags because it's Rambo. And he goes to the top of the sheriff's department, right? And Rambo is just setting off these explosions and shooting stuff in different areas, and he don't know which way to look, man. Rambo's got this guy so confused. I'd be scared to death. So Rambo,
they're just running around. He's just running around. I don't even know how hard he's trying to catch Rambo as much as he is trying to stay away from Rambo too.
Right. So Rambo goes into the sheriff's office or whatever, the police department. He just starts, right? He's just tearing it up with the gun bullets just everywhere. And Rambo notices the hatch is down from the ceiling, right? So the sheriff, he's up front and he's waiting and Rambo runs across, sheriff shoots or whatever. And Bond, it's just, what are you going to do, man? Right? What are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, he's shooting into the sheriff's office. He's just taking randomly just shooting everything. He ends up hitting Teasel in the leg, right? The sheriff ends up getting shot in the leg, man, with that M60. So
doesn't he shoot him and he falls through the roof?
Yeah, he falls through the roof.
And Rambo goes over to him, man. And this is where you see his corporal come in.
Yeah, Troutman comes up and
says it's over,
he makes
John.
Some kind of last minute appeal to Rambo.
He's like, you see all these people around you. He said, you're surrounded. There's no way out. Mm-hmm. And this is the part, man, that I almost broke down and started crying, man, because Rambo goes down and he sits on the corner, right? He sits down by a filing cabinet, man, and he's just crying, telling these stories of, I forget the names he uses. He's like, Jones is there, man, and he's got him shot up next to me. He just wanted to go home. He said he just wanted to walk home. He said he ain't got no legs. Pieces of my brother and all over me. And
I got pieces of my best friend all over me.
Yeah, and he told a couple of disaster stories like that, man. And then, the corporal comes over and he sits down and Rambo just cries like a little boy on his shoulder, man. Mm-hmm. And it's like all the pent-up stuff that he's been going through and carrying with him all these years has finally reached a boiling point, and he is having a breakdown right here. And he's like, John, he's like, look, he said, I can help you. He said, we just have to walk out of here. He's like, you got to put the stuff down. Let's walk out of here. I'll do what I can do to keep you out of places, Mm-hmm. So that was a very touching part of the movie. It makes you think. And so the next thing you see is Rambo coming out. He's in handcuffs, but he's got like a trench coat over him, so you can't really see it, right? Mm-hmm. And he's being escorted out by there's two policemen behind him and his corporal's in front of him. And there's a song that plays. I don't even remember the song that's playing, but that's basically how the movie ends. So we went on this journey with this Vietnam vet being mistreated. And let's face it, It's all about history, because when those people came back, they were treated like scum in America, right?
There was baby killers,
right? It's not their fault that they were doing their job that the commander in chief told them to go do. That's what people don't understand. Should we have been there? That's a topic for another podcast or another episode that we're not going to dive into, right?
Exactly.
But this movie shows the toll of that war took on a person, and Rambo is just one out of thousands of people that came back. There's a lot of people that didn't come back.
And this movie came out in 1982, so the Vietnam War and the realities of PTSD, they were very, very prominent at this time.
Oh yeah, still fresh in people's mind.
Still fresh. They knew an uncle, a father. They knew somebody who was suffering with PTSD. It impacted everyone's home and everyone's life. And so to see this, I think it really put it in perspective for a lot of people that might have had trouble understanding the whole stress and what those soldiers were going through when they came home.
Right. So, Bond, here's normally where I jump in and give a bunch of trivia and all that, but I did something a little different this time. I wrote some stuff down, and
okay.
here's you can comment as we go along, or if you want to look up some trivia, you can. But if I don't cover it, so cinema has a strange way of lying to us over time, not through deception, but through repetition. The more an image is reused, the more its original meaning erodes. How many different box covers have you seen of Rambo? He's up there with the gun. It shows him walking down the highway with the mountains behind him. You see him with the bandana on. You see targets and all that, right? So a few characters in film history have been misremembered as thoroughly as John Rambo. Today, the name Rambo conjures an image of muscle, firepower, and nationalistic fantasy. As I said, when I was a kid, he was a hero, right? Mm-hmm. He was a lone warrior solving geopolitical problems with ammunition and resolve. A cartoon of American masculinity forged in explosion and slow motion gunfire. But you know what? That character doesn't even exist in First Blood. In fact, First Blood actively rejects that interpretation. It resists it. It mourns it. This is the tragedy of First Blood, a deeply human film about damage, alienation, and failure that was gradually transformed into a symbol it was never meant to represent. When we talk about this in the first movie that was known as Rambo, even though it's First Blood, it's a film that tried to stop all that from happening. So when it was first in development in the late 1970s, it was not seen as a commercial slam dunk. It wasn't conceived as a blockbuster. It wasn't even conceived as an action film in the sense that we think of action films in today's sense, right? It was based on the 1972 David Morrell's book or novel, The First Blood, a bleak confrontational story written by a Canadian academic deeply concerned with how Vietnam veterans were being treated upon returning home. Morrell had never served in the military, but he was disturbed by how quickly America wanted to forget the war and the people who fought it. I think of myself when I read something like that or I write something like that, think of 9/11. I lived through it. You lived through it. How quickly have people forgot that? And that was just, 25 years ago?
25 years ago. But the reality is they forgot about it less than 10 years later.
Yes. So, but in the novel, John Rambo, he's not a hero. He's not a winner. And he is not saved. He is a broken man who cannot reintegrate into society. And the story ends with his death in the novel. Not gloriously, not heroically, but quietly as a final act of mercy by his former commanding officer. So I'm guessing the commanding officer kills him in the book. I haven't read it. But when Hollywood adapted the novel, the ending remained in place for a long time. They were going to kill Rambo off. They kept it true to Morrell's intent. And Rambo was meant to die. His death was meant to underline the point that America had no place left for him or anybody like him. And for a while, that actually survived into the translation of the film. But the project changed hand multiple times. Directors came and went. And at one point, the role of Rambo was nearly played by none other than, here's some people that were going to play him. Steve McQueen. Could you see Steve McQueen playing Rambo?
That's pretty good. I don't know. It's 1982. So how old was Steve McQueen? Because you have to come off like, as a Vietnam veteran. So
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood might have been able to do it.
Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. All those guys.
Yeah, I think any of those guys could have pulled this off.
But any of those guys that
veterans.
But any of those guys that played that, the interpretation of the movie would have been different, right?
Sure.
So when Sylvester Stallone's name became attached, he was already a global star thanks to Rocky. But First Blood, it was anything far from Rocky. Stallone saw something personal in the story. He recognized the loneliness, the sense of being discarded after usefulness had expired. Stallone did something unexpected. He began removing dialogue from the script. Early scripts had Rambo constantly explaining himself, his motivations, his anger, his confusions. Stallone felt that this robbed the character of his truth. Trauma does not need to explain itself. It isolates, it silences. Stallone quietly rewrote the script to strip Rambo of speech. Scene after scene was revised so that Rambo reacts instead of speaks. He observes instead of argues. He endures instead of persuades. The result is startling. For most of the film, Rambo barely talks at all. He's not a preacher. He's not a revolutionary. He is a presence. He makes you uncomfortable, unreadable, and increasingly cornered. This choice redefined this film. First Blood, it doesn't open with violence. We don't have a great war scene. We don't have, shots of Vietnam, but with absence. Rambo, of course, arrives in a small town looking for one last connection he has left to this world, a fellow soldier from his unit. He learns that the man has died from cancer caused by Agent Orange exposure. There's no ceremony, no recognition, just another erased life from his. This moment matters. It contextualizes everything that follows. Rambo is not passing through town out of menace or aggression. He is passing through because he genuinely has nowhere else to go. When Sheriff Will Teasel intercepts him, the encounter is not framed as good versus evil. Teasel is not written as a sadist. He's not corrupt. He is confident, dismissive, and deeply convinced of his authority. Brian Denny played Teasel with a deliberate lack of overt cruelty. He is polite, he's calm, and he certainly is right. That becomes the true antagonist of the film. Teasel does not see Rambo as a person. He sees him as a problem that needs to be removed. A drifter, a disruption, someone who does not belong. So the tragedy of First Blood is that everything that follows this is unnecessary. If he would have just let him eat, he would have been on his way and none of this would ever have happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Rambo is arrested, shaved, and processed, the film does something rare for its era. It refuses to sensationalize his trauma. The police station scene is not played for excitement. It's very uncomfortable. It's claustrophobic. It's methodical. The camera lingers on as Rambo disassociates, flashing back to his time as a prisoner of war. These moments were controversial during production. Studio executives worried the flashbacks were too disturbing, they were too slow, and they were too psychological. But that is where the film draws the line. Rambo does not snap because he is violent. He snaps because he is terrified. His escape is not an act of revenge, it is an act of panic. And from that moment forward, the film becomes a study in escalation, not of violence, but of misunderstanding. One of the most misunderstood aspects of First Blood is its body count. Despite its reputation, Rambo does not go on any sort of killing spree. He does not hunt civilians. He does not execute police officers. In fact, he actively avoids killing people whenever possible. The one death in the film, the deputy who falls from the helicopter, is accidental. Even that moment is framed as tragic and not triumphant. You can tell Rambo has remorse for that too as he goes over to him. The distinction mattered deeply to the filmmakers. They wanted Rambo to be dangerous, yes, but not as a monster. His skills are not celebrated. They are feared even by him. The wilderness becomes his refuge, not because he enjoys the combat, but because it is the only place that makes any sense to him anymore. The forest does not judge him. The town does. Behind the scenes, First Blood nearly collapsed in post-production. The first assembly cut reportedly ran over 3 hours. It was nearly unwatchable. The tone wavered, the pacing dragged, and Rambo seemed distant rather than sympathetic. The editor had to reshape the film completely. Entire scenes were removed, explanatory dialogue was stripped out, action was tightened, and silence was allowed to breathe. Ted Kotchoff later admitted that the final version of First Blood barely resembled what was originally shot. The movie was not found, it was carved. This matters because First Blood is not powerful because of what it shows, it's powerful because of what it withholds. The final confrontation between Rambo and Colonel Troutman is the emotional heart of the film and the moment that saved Rambo's life, as we talked about. Troutman, played with weary gravity, is not a proud general. He is not a patriotic caricature. He is a man who understands that he helped create something the world did not want. Originally, this scene ended with Rambo's death, but test audiences reacted strongly, not because they wanted a sequel, but because killing Rambo felt like punishment, not a resolution to the problem. Stallone argued that survival was the point. Rambo does not win. He does not escape. He collapses. His breakdown monologue, often misquoted and misunderstood, is not a call to arms. It is a confession of failure and of grief. This is not a warrior demanding respect. This is a man asking why he was abandoned. When First Blood first released in 1982, it resonated deeply with Vietnam veterans. Many described it as the first time Hollywood acknowledged their pain without turning them into villains or saints. Ironically, the broader cultural legacy of Rambo would do exactly that. As sequels transformed Rambo into an unstoppable symbol of American dominance, the original film was slowly overwritten in public memory. The tragedy became a spectacle, the trauma a fantasy. The character survived, but the message did not. That's the ultimate irony of First Blood. A film made to mourn the cost of violence became remembered for celebrating it. First Blood endures not because it created an icon, but because it tried to prevent one. It is a film about what happens when a society uses people up and discards them, about authority that cannot admit error, about a man trained for war and punished for surviving it. It is not a victory story. It is a warning. And perhaps the greatest tragedy of First Blood is that the warning was ignored.
I think that Sylvester Stallone did a wonderful thing by not explaining the tragedy, not explaining the trauma. It added so much to the movie that we, as viewers, had to experience what he was experiencing. We're yelling at the television, just leave him alone. Just leave, yelling at the screen. Just leave him, let him go. Just leave him alone. The fact that they don't sit there and explain that to you over and over again is what made this movie great. But as you were describing that, I kept thinking of a cornered dog, like a German shepherd who's been cornered and scared, especially in that sheriff's office when he's being processed. He's wet, he's cold, and he's being tortured. But like I said, it was like a tortured dog who's in the corner, and you reach for him and he bites, but he doesn't bite you because he's mean. He doesn't bite you because he's evil. He bites you because he's terrified. And so that's what you see through Sylvester Stallone's character through the whole movie, is he's a terrified animal who's forced to react.
Yeah.
And in my notes, I have that originally they were going to cast Betty Davis as a psychiatrist.
Yes.
As a psychiatrist. But as you were describing what you were saying, that would have ruined it, because it's like, no, I don't need Betty Davis to come out and describe what I'm watching. I don't need it dumbed down where, thank you, Betty Davis, for telling me what this is all about. Let me experience it. Let me figure it out on my own. So I thought that was really good. A couple other people I saw that were considered for the role: Powers Booth, Michael Douglas, Nick Nolte were all offered. Dustin Hoffman was actually offered the role of Rambo too. And he turned it down. And I thought Dustin Hoffman would have done a great job. John Travolta, Burt Reynolds, Robert Redford were also considered. So it went out to a lot of, I think Gene Hackman and Robert Duvall both turned down the part of Sheriff Teasel. Right. And so I thought that was pretty good. And Lee Marvin turned down the part of Colonel Troutman.
Oh, he'd be good too.
Yeah. There's just a lot of, this movie would have been good no matter what, but I think all of those actors that we had mentioned could have pulled it off. I think they were all excellent Academy Award winning style actors. It was really, really a good movie. This movie was much better than I remember it being.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I liked it.
Oh, I did too.
I liked it as a kid. But as an adult watching it, I'm going, this is a totally different movie.
You get a different vibe when you're older watching this movie as you did as an 8-9-year-old kid when I was watching it. A couple more little tidbits of, I could go through here and I could do a ton of trivia, but I'm not going to do that on this episode, I don't think. Maybe pull out a few, but not like I normally do. But the fabric that Rambo finds in the Rambo finds in the woods, remember he makes that makeshift coat, was actually a large piece of rotten canvas found by the film crew during the movie's production. So that was a free prop right there.
Really out in the woods.
Yep. A lot of the townsfolk that appeared in this film were actually local townsfolk who were recently left unemployed when a nearby mill had ceased operations, and they were more than happy to have the cast and crew of the film there to provide them work opportunities. So that was pretty cool of them. And Sylvester Stallone accidentally broke the nose of Alf Humphreys, Lester, during the jail escape scene by elbowing him in the face, which is why he is seen wearing a Band-Aid throughout the rest of the film.
That's awesome.
I know. So
the real Band-Aid.
Yeah. So there, I could go on and on.
Yeah.
And
those
on.
are the ones that I kind of mentioned before we started rolling. Now there is a scene where, like you said, Rambo jumps off the cliff and ends up bouncing from limb to limb.
Yeah.
That was actually Sylvester Stallone doing his own stunts. He broke some ribs during that fall when he hit a branch, and that slowed production by a few weeks because he actually broke his ribs as he was falling off that cliff.
Right. Yeah. They said that when he was jumping off that cliff that he had the mossy cliff, he said he was concerned about slipping on the wet surface, right? So the solution for this was his concern was tying a rope around his ankles so they could, as Stallone puts it, retrieve his body, right? He says he knew he was in trouble when he looked around the set and saw everyone else tied to trees. I was like,
exactly.
Oh,
he's
okay.
Like, oops. Not good, man.
Yeah, so I don't want to go through a lot of trivia because I don't want that to take away from what this episode represents. And I think
agree.
we would be remiss if we don't, talk about the movie as it stood and what it represented when it came out and how people over time forgot what it really meant, especially with the sequels coming out, which we will cover probably during our summer of sequels sometime this year in the summer, Rambo First Blood Part 2. So Bond, I don't want to belabor this, so I'll just let you go ahead and give me your final thoughts, your rating, your review of First Blood.
First off, I know that there are a lot of veterans out there that are suffering with PTSD. And if you are going through anything like that, you are not alone. There are people out there that care. There is help out there available. If you or someone you know is struggling, coming back from war, coming back from overseas or serving, please take the time, get the help you need. And know that there are people out there that are supporting you, that love our country, and want you to have the best life after the military. This movie was a great movie, Jimbo. Like we said, it was just much better than we both remember it. The acting was superb. The action was amazing. It was over the top. Yeah. Did it kick off the beginning of the big, muscle-bound superstars of the 80s and 90s? Of course, man, that's what these movies were all about. Big explosions, big muscles. And as a guy, you got to love it. It's amazing. I give this movie an 8.5, and it's only creeping up higher and higher as the week went on. As I watched it, as I thought about it, as I started taking notes tonight on the podcast, I'm giving it an 8.5 because I think it deserves an 8.5. Man, it's that good. It, if you haven't seen this movie in a long time, you need to go back and watch it. If you saw this movie as a kid or as a teenager, go back and watch it as an adult. This movie needs to be revisited every every decade or so. Go back and rewatch this movie because I think you'll see it in a different light. When I'm in my 60s, I'm going to go back and watch it again because I want to see it again in a different light. Prop piece. I'll take his tarp poncho because I'm going to leave some, I'll leave the good stuff for you, but I'll take the little tarp poncho.
Yeah, Bond, like I said, I haven't watched this movie. I watched it probably in my 30s, early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. That's about 15, 20 years ago. And it just hit differently, man. I don't know what it is, but like you said, first and foremost, if you have ever served in any branch of the military, this guy and that guy supports you 100%. We don't care what you did. We don't care where you served. We don't care if you wanted to be there, if you were drafted, whatever. We proudly say we're proud to be an American, and we salute our armed forces, as well as all of our police and firefighters and all that, right? Our civil servants. So when you see a movie like this and the way, where I live, there's a Walmart. In the Walmart parking lot, there is a elderly black gentleman that sits there, and he's I don't know if it's Vietnam War, but he's a war vet, right? And he's asking for help. And it breaks my heart every time I see him because why doesn't our country do something better to help these people that were vets? Why do we, yes, we have the, what is it called? The Veterans Hospital, but it takes months to get in there. And the care they get there is worse than what Joe Blow comes in off the street over here and gets help down the road from by the hospital where I live. It should be the other way around. If you serve, you should have priority wherever you go and
treated
get the help you need.
Everywhere you go.
Exactly. They should be taken care of for life. They should have free housing. They should have income for the rest of their life. I don't care. That's my thought and feeling. There's plenty of people out here.
The fact that they shouldn't have to pay any medical at all.
There's plenty of people out here that can work that don't work, and that should be going to our veterans. The people out there that don't work and can work. And that makes me upset as an American. But before I go down that path, just going and bringing it back to this movie, you feel for John Rambo. If I went out here and I surveyed 100 people and I said, who's one of the greatest action heroes of all time? A lot of them are going to say Rambo, right? Because that's what people have remembered him as, and the sequels portray him as. But when you go back and watch the original film, it's devastating to see what happened to Rambo from this movie to even the sequels, because it lost its originality. As I said, it's been a long time since I watched this, and it grew on me. And a lot of the movies we cover, I'll watch, we'll do a podcast, and I'll forget about. Rambo's one that I watched, we cover, and I'm still thinking about it because that's the kind of impact this movie had on me. Like, wow, why is it? And this was in what, 1978 or 82?
82.
How much have we forgotten in this short amount of time? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So for me, I give this movie at least a 9. And it's probably only going to go up. This is almost a perfect movie. It really is. Because it's one of those movies that sticks with you and you start thinking about it. And the more you think about it, the more it resonates with you and you see the problems that we have in the world today. It is a must watch for anybody that has not watched it. There is a scene where he is just be prepared if you're watching with kids. There is a scene where he is getting hosed down with a fire hydrant and you see his butt. Okay. I'm not going to shy away from that, but that doesn't deter from the rest of the movie. The action, I'm not even going to say it's even that good of an action flick. Yeah, the hunt scenes where they're hunting him down in the woods is great, and the traps he sets is great. The only issue I have, and I don't even think it's that big of an issue, is when he comes back to the town and he just starts shooting and blowing everything up. If his problem was with the one person or that sheriff and on his officers, that's who he should have went after. Instead, he took it out on the whole town. So, kind come to find out from the sequel, he does get put in jail. He goes to like a hard rock quarry.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I'm just saying. But, you know, my question to you is, Bond, is should he even been in jail?
Probably resisting arrest.
Right. But should the sheriff be in jail too then? For false arrestment, right?
Probably.
So my prop piece, I want, and it's going to surprise you because I'm not taking the knife, although that'd be an easy way out. Give me that picture at the beginning of the movie that he shows Del Rey's mom or his sister, whatever she is, wife. The group of all of them together in Vietnam.
Yeah, with Delmar and
all of them.
Rambo and all of his
platoon. Cast. Give me that. Because when you're in the army like that, that is his family. And I just think that's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool. I thought you were going to take the knife or the
Everybody
or the,
thought
tags.
I was taking the dog tags would be cool too. I even thought about the razor, right? I was going to take the M16, but I was like, nah, probably can't have that. So yeah, write in, let us know what you think about Rambo First Blood. It's how it affected you. And if you are one of the people that serve, please write in to us at thetragedycinema@gmail.com. We would love to hear if you watch this movie,
your thoughts and feelings
and what you think of it and what you think we can do differently in today's society or even in a movie in today's world. Because it's not just about, oh, it's fun and fun and blow stuff up, and there's real consequences and real tragedies. And I'm just going to say we love USA. If I could, I'd play God Bless the USA right here at the end of this podcast, right?
Exactly, man.
But I can't do that. So, but with that being said, I think this episode's coming to a close, and that's a wrap.
And cut.
The tragedy of cinema, where memories shimmer, join us as we toast to the tales we love the most. The tragedy of cinema, where memories shimmer, join us as we toast to the tales we love the most. Those we love the most. The tragedy of cinema, where memories